The Clackamas County Community College Budget Committee meeting will now come to order. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, around 6 p.m. The Budget Committee met last Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, to hear a presentation of the proposed budget and background information from the college administration. There was a question and answer period with good discussion. Tonight's meeting will allow an opportunity for the Budget Committee members to ask more questions or provide additional comments on the proposed budget. The meeting will also include an opportunity for public comments. I would like to note for the record that responses to additional Budget Committee member questions have been included in the agenda packet for tonight's meeting, as well as several written public comments. The Board of Education will adopt the budget at its June 17th meeting. At that meeting, prior to the adoption, a hearing will be held, which is an additional time for any interested parties to comment on the budget. Please call the roll. For the roll call, I will ask each member to go around and state their first and last name for the record. You do not need to provide the district number you represent. Let's begin with the furthest person to my right.
Jane Reed.
Christine Didway.
Sorry about
Ryan Ingersoll.
Michael Morrow.
Irene Konev.
David Chitazan.
Joe Crenshaw.
that. Wade Byers.
Alina Krolenbrock.
Nancy Bush.
Wade Hathorn.
Andrei Chernyshov.
Rob Wheeler.
Jamie Damon.
Thank you. Our first item of business is to approve the minutes of the last meeting, which was May 13th, 2026. Are there any questions or correction to the meeting minutes?
I move to approve.
It's been moved to approve. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
It's been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. At this time has been set aside on the agenda for public comments. The committee discussed the procedures and rules for this at the last meeting. The committee has designated up to 1 hour to hear public comments before moving on to the remainder of the board's business meeting. There will be a lottery random drawing to select the order of speakers, which is being completed as we speak. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and will be timed digitally by Katie Riggs, the committee recorder. You may be interrupted once the time limit has been reached. If a group wishes to speak, please designate one spokesperson for the group. In order to maintain the meeting schedule, repetitious comments may not be permitted. I would like to ask the Budget Committee to refrain from engaging in dialogue during the public comment period and simply listen. Respectful consideration is expected for all comments. It's that individual personnel issues and concerns must not be discussed in a general public meeting. Recorder Katie Riggs will be calling up to 2 speakers at a time so we can proceed through this as quickly as possible. When your name is called, please come forward to the speaker table and speak into the microphone so that everyone can hear you. Please begin your comment by stating your first and last name along with your city of residency and relationship to the college for record.
Okay, so first up will be Lucas Han and Beverly Forney. And then on deck will be Elizabeth Carney and Matthew Larkin. So if we could please have Lucas Han and Beverly Forney, please come to the speaker table up here. And we'll begin with Lucas.
Good
Just
evening,
a-
Board.
just-
I would like to yield my time to Jennifer Pope to speak on behalf of an affected employee by these cuts.
So we will move to Bev, and as Jennifer makes her way to the or to the speaker table.
Good evening, Board. My name is Beverly Forney. I'm a resident of Oregon City, and I am a full-time faculty member and chair of the Business and Computer Science Department here at CCC. I'm also president-elect of the Full-Time Faculty Association, taking office in July for the 26-27 school year. I want to talk to you a bit about a topic of great concern to our faculty, the learning that would be lost as a result of the proposed reduction to the first-year faculty experience program, which will directly and negatively impact our students as well. By cutting the FYFE budget by 2/3, there will be a decrease in training and support for faculty in standardized best practices and equity-minded teaching skills. This will result in fewer students having equity-minded learning experiences, which will especially impact students from historically marginalized groups. This is especially critical for many CTE instructors who come to CCC straight from business and industry and step into the classroom for the first time. The practices taught in the FYFE program include training on equity-minded syllabi and course design, tools and techniques to create a sense of belonging for students, transparent and aligned assignment and course design, program and course level assessment, use of OER and low-cost materials, connecting students with key college resources and support, use of active learning strategies, and more. There is simply no way that all of these topics can be covered comprehensively in just one term, with 1/3 of the time together that we have historically spent in the program. And it's not just the reduction in seat hours and time in session that creates this loss in learning and skill, but it is exacerbated by the fact that FYFE's learning plan accelerates as the year goes on. The first term is critical because it is foundational, but also because it helps provide just-in-time support for faculty who are often brand new to CCC and feel lost, confused, or unsure in this new environment. As they become more comfortable, confident, and familiar with CCC, the percentage of time used in the FYFE seminar for troubleshooting and understanding of basic systems minimizes, and this allows for more instructional and teaching improvement and development at a deeper level in the remaining 2 terms. It really does take an entire year to meet the learning outcomes that this very board and college stakeholders established for the FYFE program. Many FYFE alumni actually report wanting more time in FYFE, not less. In fact, this is something the board used to consistently hear in the FYFE debrief that used to be conducted each year. So I hope you can understand why the proposal to actually cut this program by 2/3 is something our faculty is very concerned about. Please help us maintain this important and impactful program by keeping its budget whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Jennifer Pope, and if I could please have Elizabeth Carney make her way to the speaker table, that would be great.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Pope, and I'm the Science Lab Coordinator here at CCC. I'm also the President of the Classified Union and a resident of Clackamas. You're going to hear a lot tonight from people who are unhappy with these proposed budget cuts because these changes do impact the college community, existing employees, and they do impact our students heavily. They are hard to accept, especially as we get notices, like many of us did this week, that a 6-figure director position has been newly open for recruitment, even as we're discussing cutting the work for current employees and services for students. Today, I'm reading a statement from a fellow classified member who has been impacted by one of the proposed cuts that's already been implemented. My name is Caitlin Karch. I've been an employee at Clackamas Community College for the past 15 years. I've worked in student services from the time I began at Clackamas and have been an academic advisor for the Wilsonville campus and apprenticeship programs for the past decade. My favorite thing about my job was getting to help students, see them progress through their programs, support them in their successes, and troubleshoot their failures to get them back on track. As a first-generation student myself, I found it very rewarding to work in an advising role and reduce barriers for our students that I faced when I was in college. I am the former and current academic advisor for apprenticeship programs at the college. I say former because you can see my position was offered up as one that could be cut to save the college money. I say current because I am now working in a hybrid position where I get to do my job as the advisor for apprenticeship students while also holding the position of program liaison and enrollment specialist for the Office of Education Partnerships. If you're thinking to yourself, that sounds like 2 different jobs, you're correct. In December, I was notified by my supervisor that the position of academic advisor in the apprenticeship department was being eliminated. I was given the choice of transferring into a new department with a new position or being unemployed. At that time, I was told that I would need to continue advising apprenticeship students in my new role, but my interactions with them would be reduced to checking an inbox and returning phone calls. This decision has reduced advising services for apprenticeship students by 80%. To be told by management that your position is not valuable enough to keep is a bold statement. To be told that you are so skilled, you are needed elsewhere is condescending. To be told that you need to keep advising students, but in such a reduced form that it removes the human element from the job is offensive. To have 15 years of service, having helped thousands of students with their goals, adapting to constant management turnover, flexing my time and work location to be available for night classes to cover the gap when all other student services were closed, to then be informed that you have the option to do a job you never applied for or leave the institution unemployed with 30 days notice is no longer surprising. In closing, I want to address the board and tell you that I am not a thing. I am not a random body that can fill a job and complete a task. I am a person who had a decade of built relationships taken from me, who was removed from the student population that I served, and who were the foundation of the pride that anchored me in my work. I am a person who has made a difference in the success of my students, and that cannot be taken from me. Thank you.
Next up is Elizabeth Carney, and if we could please have Matthew Larkin make his way to the speaker table, that would be great.
Hello, Budget Committee. I'm Elizabeth Carney. I live in Oregon City and I've worked at CCC for almost 10 years now. I'm a full-time faculty member in the Center for Teaching and Learning. As the college's assessment coordinator, my work has largely focused on building and maintaining a system for assessing whether our students are meeting our intended program-level student learning outcomes. In other words, when students complete a degree or a set of general education courses, have they attained the skills and abilities that we promised them and that they need in order to be successful in the next stage of their lives? And if not, we figure out what changes we should make to curriculum and teaching. Having a robust practice of program assessment is necessary for our college to maintain its accreditation. So I teach faculty what program assessment is, why it matters for student learning, and how to do it. The first year faculty experience program plays a vital role in that, the program as a whole and the portion of FYFE that I teach. Few faculty get formal training in how to teach before they start teaching. Even fewer get formal training in program assessment. It's not something usually taught in graduate schools or in industry careers. It's complex and it takes a lot of time to learn, as any instructor who has led assessment for their program here at CCC would probably tell you. Many colleges and universities struggle with assessment and seek out ways to engender a positive culture of assessment. They look around to see who is doing something that works, and the answer is always that systematic, consistent support for faculty is what works. Our FYFE program is that kind of support. It was designed to serve as a pipeline, connecting all incoming faculty to the resources and people they need immediately and to continued professional development through the Center for Teaching and Learning over the course of their careers. It gives new faculty a grounding in foundational teaching, learning, and assessment principles that they can then build on to learn and do program level assessment. I have noticed that faculty who have gone through FYFE are less often resistant or fearful of program assessment. They understand why it matters and they have more confidence to take it on, even though it's hard. In 2023, evaluators from the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities, our accrediting organization, awarded CCC an official commendation for faculty professional development that supports improvements in assessment, and they specifically called out FYFE. They were telling us that what we're doing is working. The proposed 2/3 cut to the FYFE budget will have a real cost to the college that are not visible in the spreadsheet. I am requesting that the FYFE budget not be cut at this time. Instead, give the Center for Teaching and Learning faculty time to review ways to reduce the cost of the program while preserving as much as possible its necessary contribution to the college. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Matthew Larkin, and then next, can we also please have John Phelps come to the speaker table? And then on deck is going to be Rick Croninger, and I apologize if I butchered your name, and Catherine Long.
I yield my time to Andrew Danick.
I'm sorry, to who?
Andrew Danick.
Andrew Danick. Could you please come to the speaker table? Andrew, we'll have you go first.
Andrew Danick, resident of Clackamas County. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. In the last 12 years I've worked at the college, my wife and I have built our lives around the stability of a full-time employment here at CCC. Because of that stability, we have purchased our first home, started a family, welcoming our son Wyatt and our daughter Reagan into our lives. Those decisions were not made casually. They were made with the understanding that my position was a full-time 12-month position and the college valued long-term employees enough to provide a stable employment. Reducing these positions to a 10-month position is not a minor scheduling adjustment. It is effectively a 25% pay reduction in income and a fundamental change to terms of employment that I have relied on for many years. For my family, that reduction would have a direct and serious impact on our financial stability, our ability to plan for the future, and our long-term retirement security. While summer operations may look different, work does not disappear. In my role, I continue to have specific duties, projects during the summer months that keep me fully engaged and contribute to the ongoing operations of the college. Historically, the college has managed seasonal workload different through adjusted summer schedules while still maintaining these positions as a full-time year-round role. That approach recognizes both operational needs and the college of the college and values retaining experienced employees. This proposal changes that long-standing commitment. I respectfully ask the board to reconsider this decision and explore alternatives that achieve budget goals without permanently reducing established full-time positions. Losing experienced employees, reducing stability for families, and weakening long-term institutional knowledge will carry costs of its own. After 12 years of dedicated service, I want to continue to contribute to the college and supporting our students in the full capacity I was hired to serve. If you are hunting for a reason to cut people, you are not leading, you are failing. Good leaders find a reason to keep and develop people, and poor leaders find a reason to get rid of them. Thank you again.
Next up is John Phelps. And then if you could please make your way to the speaker table, we have excuse me, while I look this up. It's going to be Rick Croninger. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. Could you please make your way to the speaker table? Thank you.
I yield my time to Jessica Phelps.
Okay, Jessica Phelps, if you could please make your way to the speaker table. Jessica, you'll go first.
Okay. My name is Jessica Phelps. I live in Oregon City and I'm a full-time classified employee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've been connected to the college for many years. I was a student here right out of high school in 1991. I've earned 2 associate degrees here and I have been a full-time classified employee since 2006. This college has had a significant impact on my life, and I truly value the work we do and the students that we serve. I understand that budget decisions are complex and that the college often faces financial challenges. I am not here to question that. I'm here to ask that you take a closer look at the decision to reduce 2 existing 12-month positions into 10 months. For us, this is not simply a schedule change. It is a significant reduction in income and stability. Most people could not afford to lose 2 months of income in a year and still meet their financial obligations. Reducing positions this way also has broader impacts. It makes it more difficult to retain experienced employees and maintain the level of support that the faculty and students rely on. When positions are reduced, it affects not only those directly impacted, but the overall stability and effectiveness of a department. Summer has always been slower, and the college has adapted by shifting work where needed. I've personally taken on responsibilities outside of my usual area during slower periods, including helping out in duplications one summer and assisting in the mailroom last year. That flexibility has helped support work across the college without reducing positions. I also would like to point out that the that this change represents approximately $30,000 out of a reduction of over 2 million. While I understand every little bit counts, this would have a significant impact on employees for a comparatively small savings. I respectfully ask that you could reconsider approving this budget and take a closer look at alternatives that preserve these full-time positions and the people who have committed years of service to this college. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Rick, and could I have Catherine Long please make your way to the speaker table?
Hello, this is very hard for me. I apologize. Rick Croninger, Milwaukee. Because of that, I'd like to yield my time to John Clemson. All right, thank you very much.
John, can you please make your way to the speaker table? John, go ahead and go.
Okay. My name is John Clemson. My address is unincorporated Aurora, Clackamas County, Oregon. I'm a current student, believe it or not. I'm a graduate, yes, a 70-year-old one from last year, of the collision and refinishing program. I was also a student in the automotive restoration program starting in 2001 and again in 2023. My topic tonight is an update regarding last year's budget and what has happened since the automotive restoration and street rod programs and 2 other automotive classes were canceled. And by the way, Dr. Cook, you mentioned that these were not for credit classes at the budget committee meeting last week, and I wish to correct this. They were for credit classes. Many students took them as electives or for high school credits. Since then, 42 plaintiffs have filed a lawsuit against the college citing discrimination of other older students, many of whom were taking the classes without paying tuition as entitled. Remember, we had to enroll after tuition paying students based on class availability and space, and we pay course fees and materials fees. The college only looked at costs for these classes and not revenue. These classes actually had net positive revenue, as we recently found out. Our case has only been heard by judges who we feel were not made knowledgeable regarding revenues and based on their decisions solely on what the school's attorneys wanted them to hear regarding costs only. We will appeal the recent decision, the goal being to take our case in front of a jury. But I hope it doesn't come to that. I have reached out to Dean Burney and Dr. Plotkin about holding these classes as community ed classes. We all want a net positive cash effect for the college and desire to resume taking classes at a facility that has been paid for by taxpayers and bond payers. A community ed program would allow us to place and bring our cars and parts to work on, clean up after ourselves, and leave. The facility's there. All we need is an instructor and some utilities. It can be easily priced. All we have heard from the CCC through the attorney is that they can't create a community ed course from previously credited courses. That, to me, that's sheer nonsense. Where is the thinking outside the box and paradigm shift attitude? We're ready for discussion. And finally, to you board members and budget committee, listen with a great deal of scrutiny with respect to what you hear from the school administrators. For example, Mr. Schaefer declared at the May 13th meeting last week that the school had saved a lot in utilities during Saturdays and weekends. Where is the lesser use of these less use of this energy measured from? The body and paint shop? Ask him to prove it. Is all the equipment that impacts just the auto body class area measured for consumption? Let's see an actual energy use comparison between this year and last for just that equipment. You, the budget committee, should not be just a rubber stamp, stamping body. Question authority. They may be telling you only what they want you to hear. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is Catherine Long, and if I could please have Becky Torres and Scott Prine are on deck. Scott is up next, and then Becky.
Chair Byers, I'd like to yield my time to Mary Jean Williams.
Mary Jean Williams, will you please make your way to the speaker table? Along with Scott Prine. Mary Jean, you'll go first.
Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Mary Jean Williams, and I teach communication studies for us here at this amazing institution called Clackamas Community College. Folks, I'm an associate faculty member. I'm one of about 300 of us who are basically the rapid deployment force of this college. We work on short-term contracts. We accept classes on short notice. And yet we do this years and decades at a time, often working a full-time load. So we're super important to the institution, and we love what we do. Helping adults learn lights our brains on fire. We bring so much energy to this college. You want to keep us. You want to take care of our positions and keep us engaged in this institution. So what I want to address is the proposal in this budget that would cut sections. Now, at about $150,000, if you were to estimate each course costs about $5,000, that's 30 sections, 30 classes. Many of those are possibly low enrolled, and they're offered at funny times, evenings, unpopular times, sort of wedged between the rest of life. You know what? Associate faculty are happy to step up and teach at those weird times. We need those classes to be in service to our community and this college. Thank you. In addition to the importance of associate faculty at helping this part of the mission of the college, these funny off-time, low enrollment classes, these classes are often signed up for by our most vulnerable populations. These are people who are working full-time, putting food on the table for the families they're trying to support. They need those odd scheduled times to get to school at all. These are our students who are sacrificing the most for their education. They're borrowing time and energy and money from jobs, from families, from their children. They may be on the edge. Maybe they can make it, maybe they can't, but they absolutely deserve our support with schedules that meet their needs. Finally, there might be some false economies to the proposal to cut these classes, because this is how we generate revenue also. According to the 2025 Student Engagement Survey, only 55% of students said they were able to register for all the courses they need. For all the reasons, they weren't offered at a time they needed, the schedule conflicted with another class that was required, et cetera, et cetera. So these low enrollment classes are essential to helping students actually finish their degree goals. So I want to ask you all to please reject a budget that betrays your rapid deployment force, associate faculty, and lets down some of our most vulnerable community members. Protect our community, serve us all with excellent education. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Next is Scott Prine, and after that is Becky Torres. So if Becky could please make her way to the speaker table. And then on deck, it's Norman, Leemley? And after Norman is Christina Burt.
Good evening, board. Thank you for taking the time to hear from me. My name is Scott Prine. I'm a resident of Gladstone and a full-time faculty member in the math department here at CCC for the last 12 years. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition of the proposed cuts to the first-year faculty experience program and counter the argument made by the college last week that it's making too large an investment in first-year faculty. I'd like to point out I'm part of the Teaching and Learning Shared Governance Council at CCC, but yet this is the first opportunity I've had to speak about or to give feedback about budget decisions that relate to teaching and learning. So in the past 6 years, the math department has welcomed six new full-time faculty to replace retiring colleagues. And the first year faculty experience program has been instrumental in making these making these transitions successful. Our new faculty have gained cross-departmental relationships that would have been unlikely to form otherwise. They gain fluency with the institution's ever-evolving systems and processes, reducing the informal onboarding burden that would otherwise fall on our department. They engage with professional development focused on evidence-based teaching practices, and they're excited to bring what they learn back to our department. This cumulative effect has been remarkable. So new faculty are contributing meaningfully to our department from the moment they arrive, which I can't really say for myself when I started without FYFE. So as retirements continue to reshape our team, that kind of immediate high impact contribution is a necessity that FYFE has made possible. So this decision was framed to you in part as justified so the college could ensure it was investing fairly in faculty other than first year full-time faculty. But less than 24 hours after that, the college proposed a 75% reduction in access to the full-time faculty sabbatical program, a critical leave program for mid-career faculty like myself to renew certifications, earn credentials, design programs, conduct research, and more. Repeated budget cuts to the Center for Teaching and Learning, which serves all full-time faculty and associate faculty at the college, represent continued divestment from instructional development across the board. In summary, investment in new full-time faculty is an investment in the future of the college, and its effects on new full-time faculty spread beyond that group to benefit mid-career faculty and associate faculty alike. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll consider amending the proposed budget to eliminate the cut to FYFE.
Thank you.
Becky Torres is next, and Norman Limley, could you please make your way to the speaker table? Norman, please make your way to the speaker table. Go ahead, Becky.
Becky Torres, I'm yielding my time to Jill Freeman.
Jill, could you please make your way to the speaker table?
Thanks, Becky.
Jill, you'll go first.
Good evening. My name is Jill Freeman. I'm a full-time faculty member here, the chair for the Center for Teaching and Learning, and I am the facilitator of the first-year faculty experience. I've been with the college since 2014, and I currently live in Southeast Portland. I really appreciate you having me tonight. Thank you for listening. It's funny that I'm here tonight because almost exactly 10 years ago, I was at the May board meeting. I think Jane was the only person on the board at that time who's here now. And we had a pre-board dinner over in the old community center with the first year faculty cohort that had just finished their pilot year that year. We were celebrating. That pilot year had shown remarkable learning gains, community connections, and increased engagement for the college, and everyone around the table, including the board who commissioned FYFE at that time, agreed that this was something special and a program to invest in and make one of our signature marks as we continued to work to support our faculty. Tonight, I'm here under slightly different circumstances. There's a proposal to cut FYFE's budget by 2/3. Others have spoken to you tonight and will continue to speak to you about what that means for our faculty and students. But I want to offer a path forward that preserves the program's benefits and addresses its financial sustainability, because I believe that we can have both. The budget information you've been given is missing important context. The surplus exists because there is no reliable mechanism to transfer funds to participating faculty departments, which is what that budget money is for. I've worked with 3 deans of the business office on this over the last 10 years. They've all been incredibly helpful, but the consistent message was, don't worry, don't spend it, it'll come out in the wash at the end of the year. Last year, we thought we had a solution finally where we could transfer money, but the transfers were never made, leaving our budget looking severely underspent. That's a broken process, not an indication that those funds aren't needed or that the program isn't effective. And it's a process that was never accounted for when in January, I submitted a proposal to reduce reimbursement rates to better reflect actual costs of the FYFE program, which would have saved the college between $31,000 and $164,000 annually with no reduction to the program. I don't know what happened to that program proposal. I didn't hear anything more until, for the first time on March 31st of this year, I was told that there was a recommendation to cut FYFE from 3 terms to 1. This was a decision I was not included in. I was not talked to about it before that, and a direction that I had never heard that we were going to go for FYFE until that date. All of this points to one conclusion. We need a more complete collaborative analysis before determining what a sustainable budget looks like. Taking some time without a permanent cut is the right thing to do for our college, our students, and our commitment to continuous improvement and faculty development. This is what I'm asking for. Give us 1 year to do this right. Next year, we only have 4 incoming faculty. We can run it for under $65,000, which is less than what's currently budgeted. You'll get the savings for next year's budget without a permanent cut. During that year, I will commit to 3 things. 1, a genuine budget analysis tied to cohort size and need. 2, working with the business office to fix the transfer problem so that funds are properly moved. And 3, a return to this board with a sustainable evidence-based funding model. This is not a request for a reprieve, it's a request for a process. Collaborative, transparent, and worthy of a program that has served 100 faculty in its first decade. Please put a pin in the permanent cut, give us a year, I'll come back to you with something that you can stand behind that honors the commitment we made 10 years ago to build a faculty culture that embraces professional development and excellent teaching for our students from day one. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Next. Next, we have Norman, and could I please have Christina Burt make her way to the speaker table? After Christina, we will have Jill Freeman and Chris Kaniska on deck. So Norman, you may begin.
My name is Norman Lembley. I live in Oregon City. I'd like to refer my time to Connie, and I cannot remember her last name. It's terrible. Yeah.
Connie Lormore, please make your way to the speaker table. She's right there. Connie, you'll go first.
Hello, my name is Connie Lormore. I live in Oregon City. I'm a North Clackamas School District employee. I'm a student have been a student at Clackamas Community College, and I have a son who's also a student here. So I'm a parent, teacher, you name it. I'm here because CCC eliminated classes that seniors and that high school students and seniors that could take in the automotive field. CCC's internal documents explicitly identify seniors and high school students as the reason for these cuts. CCC used an exhibit that showed 411 students took the AM automotive courses in the past 5 years, and only 4 obtained degrees and certificates. What they didn't tell you was that 310 of those students were high school students enrolled through the high school partnership program. And they could not get certificates or degrees because of their age. They didn't tell you that 75% of the remaining students were enrolled in non-automotive degrees and certificate programs and used these for credits. You know, you need electives for a degree. You need electives for high school. The remaining 25% of these took these courses for personal enjoyment. Only a few students utilized senior tuition waivers in the AM courses, which is the automotive courses. CCC eliminated the classes because of who took them, not because of the cost. CCC produced no documents providing financial loss. Dean Burney testified under oath in litigation that we brought against CCC that she was directed by Mr. Schaefer not to consider revenue concerning these courses. The AB, the automotive body courses, were cut due to the senior tuition waiver usage and non-degree status. The data shows the courses made money. Let me say that again. The courses made money. The Excel spreadsheet provided to the plaintiffs in our litigation shows positive net revenue across multiple terms. CCC eliminated revenue-producing classes while claiming financial necessity. CCC had money for everything except for these classes, it seems. New administrative positions that we've heard about, but they eliminated revenue-producing classes that required no equipment, no facilities, and no new staffing. CCC chose litigation over collaboration. Students and some of your committee members proposed a simple solution. Offer these classes through community education. No new tools, no new equipment, no new space. Just open the garage doors. Instead, CCC chose to spend money on legal fees to fight its own students. The impact was total. Before the cuts, 17 to 25 seniors took automotive classes every term. Now there is 0.
I'm sorry, you've reached your time. Could you please wrap it up?
In closing, I'm asking this committee to realize and recognize the human impact of these decisions to push CCC to restore access for seniors and high school students. If your decisions hint of inequity, injustice, or ethical lacking, we are all here to tell you and bring those facts to light. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Christina Burt, you're up. On deck, Jill Freeman and Chris Konitska. And then after Chris, it looks like it will be Emily Cavalier.
My name is Christina Burt, Damascus, and I'm nursing full-time faculty, and I ask to yield my time to Erin Kelly.
Erin Kelly, could you please make your way up?
Good evening. My name is Erin Kelly. I'm a resident of Portland and full-time math faculty here at Clackamas Community College. Thank you for having me here tonight. One of the proposed reductions in this budget comes from increasing math course seat loads to offer fewer sections. I'm not here to fight against that. I want to tell you how we got there. And it is largely in part from the woman sitting next to me right here, which is a nice convenient coincidence. Over the past 4 years, 5 of the 10 full-time math faculty have completed the FYFE program. FYFE sets the tone for new faculty on day one that Clackamas is a place where faculty collaborate with each other, think critically about teaching as a practice to be improved upon, and where we center students in everything that we do. FYFE teaches faculty to think holistically, to consider how decisions in one department can impact students in different programs. This was never more clear to me than over the past year when my department had to discuss ways to cut our budget. Clackamas math classrooms are not the lecture-centered classrooms many of us are familiar with. When you walk into a Clackamas math classroom, the first thing that you'll be greeted with is noise. Noise from students talking to each other about math. Students are not seated at desks. They're up at whiteboards around the room discussing math and engaging in active learning. The math department prioritizes active learning because research in math education shows that engaging in this kind of learning fosters student confidence in mathematics and ownership of their learning, while improving student success and persistence. This is fantastic for students, but very difficult to achieve with large class sizes. So my department faced a real dilemma. And this is not a dilemma that we faced because we were trying to be resistant to budget change. This is a dilemma that we faced because FYFE taught us to think carefully about consequences for students. My colleagues drew on the holistic thinking and college awareness we gained through the FYFE program to think critically about enrollment. And we identified classes where we have high attrition rates. And we said these are classes where we can stand increasing seat loads because we know that we're going to accommodate that by losing students after the start of the term. Pardon me. So this allowed the department to reduce the total number of sections offered while maintaining our commitment to student-centered active learning. This holistic thinking is part of our culture in the math department, a culture that was shaped in its infancy by the FYFE program. And this kind of thinking doesn't just live in the math department. FYFE cultivates faculty who think holistically and put students first across the college. This is exactly the kind of faculty culture that can partner with this board to bring you solutions that are fiscally responsible without asking students to bear the cost of our budget challenges. I ask that you reconsider reducing FYFE to a single term. The math department is one example of what FYFE produces. Faculty who bring solutions to the board rather than just grievances, and that is worth protecting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jill Freeman is next, and then Chris Konitska. And after Chris, it's Emily Cavalier and then Jennifer Pope.
Thank you, Katie. I'm going to yield my time to Tricia Torgensen.
Okay, Tricia Torgensen, please make your way to the, thank you. Tricia, you'll go first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trisha Torgerson, and I'm here tonight both as a community member and as a college employee. I was raised here in Oregon City. I reside in Oregon City, and about 5 years ago, I accepted a position as an administrative assistant 2 here at the college. Since I started, I have consistently heard about budget concerns, specifically a structural deficit. And yet, over the past 5 years, I have not seen a single cut or reduction made at the top executive level. In fact, we have only seen an increase in the percentage of our budget going to the top administrators. Meanwhile, the current proposed budget primarily targets classified staff positions, staff programs, and the overall student experience, all of which sit in the middle or near the bottom of this hierarchy. When I was growing up, my dad worked in construction. He taught me that while you have many options for a roof, the roof won't matter if the foundation isn't solid. From my perspective, the classified staff is the foundation of this college. We maintain the heating and cooling systems, we clean the facilities, we prepare classrooms and class schedules, and we help students register for classes. Cutting classified staff means cutting into the very foundation of this institution, which will only weaken the college over time. I strongly encourage you to look to the top of the organization for reductions, where resources are vastly greater and the impact on daily operations is less severe. Additionally, I would like to remind this committee of the directive the board gave back in 2023 to work more closely with our unions. Since then, we have only seen an escalation of grievances, multiple lawsuits. In April of this year, the ACE union won an arbitration ruling. Yet we learned yesterday that the administration has no intention of honoring that ruling. From where I stand, this is not working closely together. Instead, it is a blatant disregard for our current contract and the continuous waste of taxpayer resources. While the lawsuits are from community members, I encourage you to look at the overall relationship that this administration has with both the community members and who take classes here and the staff who work here. I urge the committee to hold the administration accountable to the arbitration ruling, to honor all union contracts, and to look more closely at the relationship the administration has with the community members and staff here at the college. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is Chris, and can we please have Emily Cavalier make your way to the speaker table?
Chris Kanichka. I am a full-time faculty member in the horticulture department and the past president of the full-time faculty local here on campus. So you've heard about some specific instances tonight. I was here last May at the budget meeting when we heard from a lot of community members about the automotive situation. And I remember hearing from up on the dais that the opinion was, our job is to approve a number for the budget, and whatever happens after that, that's up to Tim and executive team. I'm here to ask that you rethink that approach and recognize that your role is to fulfill the college's mission overall, independent of a specific budget number. So I think that needs more accountability and more transparency from Dr. Cook and the executive team. And I think it's your responsibility to be asking for that and seeing where these decisions are made and how they're made. So you heard about I heard about at dinner just before this meeting about accolades for the collaborative process of making these budget cut decisions. And then you heard from Jill Freeman about the fact that in terms of first-year faculty experience, that collaboration didn't even include the person who is in charge of that program. So the collaboration, you can imagine, was a bunch of talking heads in a room who all agreed and then told her, here, this is what's going to happen. So I hope that this encourages you to request actual transparent proof that there is collaboration that includes the people involved in decision-making. I want accountability for the fact that last year's climate survey showed that the higher up the chain you get, the less faith, the less trust we have in administrators, and yet no change has been made. And to Tricia's point, in fact, it's been an escalation of actual legal hurdles to getting along better. I wanted to share a reminder that over Dr. Cook's tenure from 2018, we have a 17% increase, $1.4 million on administrators, and a 15% decrease in faculty. I don't have the number here, but it's also a decrease in classified employees as well. Strangely, that faculty number is also $1.4 million less in faculty. So now we have more bosses and less people to manage. So what's going on here? We need more managers for fewer people. We need accountability for how those decisions are made. We need accountability for what's going on there and why is that being allowed. And I hope that you see that it's your role to request that and make sure that these cuts come from an actual place of need rather than one person said this is what we should do. Please review the numbers, ask for accountability, and be sure that what you're hearing is true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily Cavalier, and could I please have Jennifer Pope make her way to the speaker table? And after Jennifer, it will be Lizzie Sauber.
I yield my time to Adam Wickert.
Adam Wickert, could you please make your way to the speaker table? Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Adam Wickert, and I am proud to be the Vice President of the Association of Classified Employees. I'm here to speak about tonight's proposed budget cuts. While my position was not directly impacted by them, I am concerned about the workload demands that these changes will create on the college. While it might seem fiscally responsible to eliminate a position after an employee retires, which, as you might notice on your budget, is happening with our CRM team, the workload of that position now shifts to multiple employees who are already at capacity. I'm also concerned about the precedent that this type of budgetary decision creates. By cutting positions for retirees or, keeping vacant positions open for years at a time, the administration risks burning out employees who are already overwhelmed. Last year, CCC went through a climate survey. While many aspects of the survey spoke to the positives of working at CCC, one consistent theme that showed through was that existing employees were feeling overwhelmed and under-resourced to be able to do the work that was assigned to them. In my role at ACE, I'm constantly hearing from members that they're being asked to cover duties for vacant positions that are allowed to remain vacant, sometimes months, sometimes years at a time, because there isn't funding to support filling those vacancies. Per that same climate survey, a respondent said, "I care about the values that CCC represents and the work I do, but it is exhausting work here. I've learned to tamp down my hopes and expectations about how much significant change and improvement are possible." Cutting positions doesn't just create workload demands. It also creates a culture where employees don't feel like there's a future where they exist. Budgets are moral documents. I urge this board to reject these cuts and instead get creative, tap into our contingency funding, look at other revenue sources that we can use to keep our existing positions in place. We've got a whole bunch of creative people in this room. In collective bargaining earlier today, I was talking about this and I mentioned this. We have an entire workforce at this college that has knowledge, brain power, and has the ability to come up with solutions that could actually fix these structural inefficiencies, structural deficit issues. Let's use it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jennifer Pope, and then I have Lizzie Sauber. And after that, I have Mary Jean Williams. So Lizzie, please make your way to the speaker table. And go ahead, Jennifer.
I would like to yield my time to Matt Larkin.
Matt Larkin, could you please make your way to the speaker table? Okay, then I will remove her. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for allowing me a chance to speak. My name is Matthew Larkin. I started here as a student in 1992. And I want to share with you a story about one of the employees Andrew Danick, who is up here being reduced to a 10-month employee. Andrew, I know him through, I work in IT, he's in automotive, and I support his area. We talk. And last summer, his summer class that he gets an opportunity to teach on Saturday was taken away. It was a bummer. He was hoping it would come back this year. The year before that, when he did teach, the students that were in his class didn't get to achieve their end goal that they were hoping for by the end of summer. So Andrew, on himself, with his own money and his own time, took the time to go out to the students' home and help them complete that. That, to me, is something that we don't hear about and touch necessarily when we make these kind of decisions, but that makes a lifelong CCC supporter. It makes a lifelong CCC person that will always vote yes, who will always give us the benefit of the doubt, and who will support us through thick and thin. We have a lot of employees who do that. And with Andrew this year, with under 2 months, you're telling him he doesn't get a paycheck for 2 months. Imagine your kids, imagine somebody you know losing their paycheck 2 months in a row. I couldn't make it. And this is the kind of person we're doing that to. I'm sorry I'm getting choked up, but it matters to me. I have put a lifetime of work here. I've considered this a family here. And the reason why Clackamas is better than any other community college in this area is because of people like us who give that extra mile, who give their own time, who help out people. And to more or less say, all your hard work, all your dedication, we're going to reward you by possibly making you lose your home, by giving you a financial struggle that's almost insurmountable. That's not okay. We're better than this. And for $30,000, we can't find that anywhere else. We can't do a better decision-making process. It's one of the first times I've really had a hard time being proud of where I work. And I hope you make a different decision, because that's not the right one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
After Mary Jean, I have Dustin Blackman and Cooper Loremore. So go ahead, Mary Jean.
Hi, I'm Mary Jean Williams, and I'd like to cede my time to the amazing librarian, Jane Littlefield.
Jane Littlefield, please make your way to the speaker table. And also Dustin Blackman, please make your way to the speaker table.
Hello, board. Thank you for the chance to comment tonight. My name is Jane Littlefield, and I'm a resident of Oregon City. I am a full-time faculty librarian at CCC, finishing my 11th year. I am a grateful alum of the inaugural FYFE cohort. I am a member of the Teaching and Learning Shared Governance Council, and this is the first time I'm able to share feedback on the proposed budget. I want to speak tonight about the topic of concern for all of us, the affordability of education for our students. Earlier this year, the board voted once again to raise tuition for our students, increasing the cost of a Clackamas education. The proposed budget you are considering tonight includes burdening our students with almost $500,000 in new expenses through fees and tuition increases. Meanwhile, the service level we can provide to students is lowered. When we cut sections, students lose options and can't get the classes they need. When we increase seat loads for classes, students get less one-on-one support from their instructors and success rates slip. Cuts to tutoring and counseling availability mean we may not be here when a student needs help. And the quality of that service, equitable, innovative, responsive education, our mission is lowered too. Reducing FYFE by 2/3 means faculty teaching, learning, and assessment skills that directly lead to student success are missing. The reality is that we are asking our students and our community to pay more for less. Faculty and staff who work with students every day do everything we can do to care for and support students, but we often do not have the staff and resources required to do our best. I recognize that the budget process is very hard and that challenging decisions have to be made every year. But this year, we are cutting more than we need to cut. A May 1st email to staff states that the college's structural budget deficit is 1.2 million, but that over 2 million of cuts and new revenues have been identified. Many of you acknowledged last week that these cuts are painful. Why are we causing unnecessary pain through hundreds of thousands of dollars of unnecessary budget cuts? We could take a number of the most painful things in this proposed budget and spare ourselves that pain while still having a balanced budget. We are asking our students to make a worse deal next year, increased costs for reduced services. We are all here tonight because we care for our students and for each other. Please, board, you have the opportunity and the responsibility to direct the college to not make unnecessary cuts. Our students deserve the best education possible, and the employees of CCC who strive and collaborate and show up to make that happen deserve a student-centered budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dustin Blackman.
Hi, Dustin Blackman. I'm a resident of Salem. I will be yielding my time to Lucas Hahn. I just want to throw out there that I am a huge fan and beneficiary of the FYFE program and the two outstanding individuals that work in the tool room. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, good
Go ahead,
evening,
Lucas.
board.
Go ahead, Lucas.
Good evening. I saw you all at the beginning and now I get to see you all again at the end. My name is Lucas Han. I'm a Portland resident. I'm a full-time faculty member teaching communication studies here at CCC. I want to speak tonight about the role that the first-year faculty experience program plays in recruiting and retaining high-quality full-time faculty. Clackamas is a little bit different than other colleges. It's not the first college that I've worked at, and I think if you could ask the folks in this room, they would tell you that this is a special place with special relationships. In my time here, FYFE has been one of the signature programs that cements this college as a special, unique, different place to work. It's currently described in new full-time faculty job postings as a year-long training and community building program for all new full-time faculty members. As institutions of higher education across the country are being asked to do more with less, so too are faculty, many of whom are looking for places where an increased commitment to sustained faculty support and meaningful mentorship matches our ever-increasing workloads. Interview committees report using FYFE as a selling point of CCC during job interviews with candidates. 2 years ago, I sat on a full-time faculty hiring committee where we were able to hire our top candidate, a stellar instructor with full-time faculty experience at another 2-year institution. When that instructor chose to come work with us at CCC, they told me they had received another job offer from a community college in California, but had chosen to take a pay cut to come to CCC instead, specifically because they were excited to come to an institution that supported faculty with a program like the first-year faculty experience program. Moreover, FYFE is critical to recruiting faculty who have enough teaching experience to know that much of the information that we need to succeed in our roles and support our students is rooted in norms, structures, and cultures that vary differently across institutions. FYFE is a promise to new faculty applicants that they can focus on showing up as exceptional instructors without having to work a second shift in learning entirely new systems and programs. Data from full-time faculty with prior teaching experience who have participated in this program, like myself, I had full-time faculty experience before I came here, shows that this program makes a meaningful difference in faculty's confidence in their ability to navigate CCC and connect to their students and connect those students with vital campus resources. At times when student basic needs and mental health challenges are prevalent, faculty and students both cannot afford to lose this program. I'm here tonight to strongly and respectfully encourage you all to consider the budget proposal that is before you. We've heard from a lot of speakers from the community, from different employee groups tonight, who care a lot about this institution, who are very invested in this institution, who come here every day, who plan to spend our careers here. There are classified employees who have been here for years who are having their pay cut significantly by this budget proposal. There are full-time faculty who are here tonight in a crowd to tell you how crucial this first-year faculty experience program is. And ultimately, the budget proposal in front of you has cut us into a surplus. We are cutting more than our current deficit. I really, really hope that you will consider an amendment tonight to eliminate some of these most harmful cuts and protect this institution and our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, we have reached our 60-minute time limit for public comment, so I'm going to turn it back over to you to close out the public comment period.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for their comments and your passion. Are there questions from the Budget Committee? Yeah.
Chair, I have some things.
Okay.
So, first, I want to say, wow. I mean, just amazing, amazing testimony and just packing the room. So thank you so much for everybody's passion, how prepared you were. I just so appreciate that. I got out my highlighter, I got my pen. I've got a couple questions. And President Cook, I asked you this last time off the, afterwards, but I'm going to bring it up again. And so, kind of tightening the pencil and understanding the good work of, your staff to get to this budget. As I listen to folks and I look at these line items, I have to question some things like printing and publications. That last year was 240,000, this year is 412,000. It's easy to, let's take 30,000 out of that and restore that position, for 12 months instead of 10. So that seems easy. I would like our budget committee to consider something like that. I also look at repair and maintenance. For 2 years prior in 23, 24, 24, 25, the repair and maintenance was relatively flat. And maybe there's some huge maintenance expense in there that I'm just not aware of. But it jumped up to 4 million. And then this year it's increased another 125,000. It seems like that's another place to have it maybe be flat and find some savings. So, those are just two places that, I haven't been with the sharpened pencils as much as your staff to understand everything that goes into these. But, those are just two places that I know we've got some flexibility. And I get it that this is we're doing better than a lot of other community colleges in terms of our ability to not, whole scale cut. Way more than Mountain Community College is looking at huge reductions. Portland Community College is looking at huge reductions. Southern Oregon, State College is looking at huge reductions. And so I get it. But I really do think that, if one of the goals of the Cougar pause and the whole process that we used in the budget was to first not harm our student experience, and our staff, I feel like we need to sharpen our pencils and find some of those savings.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I agree with Jamie's comments, and I'm not sure what the appropriate time for this is, but I do have a couple of amendments to the budget that I'd like to propose at some point. Let me know when we get there. This is my first time doing this.
Follow-up question to committee member Jamie's to VP Schaefer. I shout out noticing that difference. As an accountant, I'm mad that I missed that jump in that. Do you have a basic description of why the printing and publication went effectively doubled over the last cycle to this cycle? Yes.
Why don't you come
You're
up to the
directing to
table, Christine?
chairs.
And Jeff, you know.
Yes, I would really like to know.
Hi. Hi, Christiana, Dean of Business Services, she, her pronouns. So what you are looking at is the internal service fund. That is a non-general fund area. And what you are also looking at is a very unfortunate typo that went through our adopted budget. It was an extra zero. That fund should be less. So when I said this was going to be embarrassing, that was not hyperbole. That was fact. And I apologize. So really what you saw is an error that carried over last year. So the adopted budget included a number that is false. If I was looking at the spend rate and the revenue rate in an internal service fund right now, you would see it is in line with what prior budgets have been. This is where we set aside how much printing costs and how much mileage costs, and then we internally allocate those resources within departments. So it has no bearing on a general fund type program.
Is just to clarify on that, this is kind of the, explain to me like I'm 10.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Is the 400, so what you're saying, if correct me if I'm wrong here. So like last year's expenditures were closer to 400? No.
closer to 200.
And
So this budget should consistently year over year be in the $200,000 to $250,000 range. And this is where we set aside resources to make sure that the vehicles have fuel, repairs, and things for their general operation so that they can service the campus community. It's an internal service fund. And then we have a printing and distribution wing of this fund as well. And that is where central allocations for printing on a by usage basis occurs.
explain to me like I'm 5. Sorry, if somebody else has a clear understanding.
Okay.
I'm
So,
not really
I
understanding.
will take another run at this.
Sure.
You collect the costs. So if you're running as a business, as a print shop, and you are collecting the costs of what does it take to print, copy, bind, and produce materials that have paper in nature. And then you have a rate or a cost per unit for cost recovery because you need to see which departments are utilizing those resources and how much of those resources. So a rate by unit. That is the estimate on what happens is this internal sum fund collects the costs and then charges it out on a by user basis to the departments in the areas that are using it. So when it's mileage, for the mileage side of this shop, it is on a per mile basis of keeping those vehicles fueled, repaired, and maintained. If it is printing, it is the cost associated with production of the print materials, and then those are allocated out. So it's a cost shifting type fund. You collect the cost of what it is, you pay the bills out of it, and then you allocate that through monthly cost recovery mechanisms in the finances. That is how the internal service fund mechanically works.
Sounds like they were going to increase by 20,000.
Hey.
I am happy to find the exact error.
Say that again?
If you, Member Chichi-san, I am happy to walk through this with you at any time you would like.
Please.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments from budget committee members,
Well-
questions?
Well, Chair Byers, if I can, so then do I understand that the bottom line is actually $172,529 more?
I'm sorry, that
Yep,
is a
that's-
current year budget question. Let me make sure I'm following your question.
Yeah, so I guess I'm wondering how the error is accounted for in the overall
It
budget.
falls about, you don't spend it, you don't collect it. So that is what will happen to close out this fiscal
I
year.
see what you're saying.
That fund will collect approximately $200,000 and some dollars by year end. So that's just an estimate from where we are right now.
Mhm.
And then we'll expend a comparable amount. What is unspent within that fund moves forward to the next year to ensure that printing, distribution, and vehicle maintenance and repairs can continue.
And is there an ability to move it in other places?
You're talking about an allowable use?
Yeah.
You would run the risk of reducing resources supporting those vehicles and equipment. It all comes from the general fund at some point. So you would effectively be cutting the resources available for print distribution and
Right, I
vehicle
understand.
maintenance and operations if you were looking to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's a
And
choice, yeah.
it is a choice. If you still have those vehicles and equipment in service, they are going to incur expense.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Other questions, comments? Yes.
I have another one. These are, again, right now we're just discussing comments about the public testimony. Someone mentioned there's an arbitration ruling that will not be honored if Dr. Cook or someone could clarify that or clarify that it can't be clarified. I don't know.
I can't really comment on issues like that, other than we will follow the contract and we will make sure that we follow the ruling from the arbitrator, but I can't comment much further than that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so, okay, thank
Mhm.
you.
I can send an email that says, yeah, it's not helpful. It's just saying, you're not going to be heard. You'll just need to relax. We'll forward you the email.
Other budget committee comments? Mr. Ingersoll, you're acting like you want to talk.
Thinking about what I'm going to say. I appreciate the comments during public comment. Thank you. I think the one question I have is for the administration at this point. Today, we heard a lot of different comments from a lot of different people sort of sharing their concerns and feedback, some of them sharing that they, when the budget sort of was released, it was the first time they had heard about things affecting their areas. You heard some personal stories about personal jobs being affected. And I think we can all agree we unfortunately are living in really challenging times around finances. I don't think I've been a part of a meeting anytime recently where somebody was excited about going through a budget process, whether that was a public institution or a private institution. So I understand that this is a challenge, right? So I would be curious from, maybe I'll just start with you, Dr. Cook, and you can refer to anybody else. As you sat here hearing the opinions and reflections, and I'm sure from emails you've maybe received or conversations that you've had with employees, community members and so forth, have you had any other ideas that have come to mind or different recommendations or just things that you've been wondering about with this particular budget as we think about moving forward?
With FYFE, there's been some questions and some discussion about how do we spend next year, really figuring out how to make that work differently. You heard it from Jill tonight as well. And I think, that was one of the reasons why we decided let's not do anything to it next year and give that time for that to look. I think that makes some sense. I think there's different ways to do that. And so that needs to look there. I've definitely heard the concern around the two employees in the tool room about the 12-month and 10-month. And I definitely heard that tonight. I thought Matt Larkin's testimony tonight was pretty compelling. When you think about the impacts that has on somebody. There's with that particular case, there's no lack of work here. So if there's something that, potentially, that we look at and decide that, we need to restructure that work or somewhere else, then that might be the case we have to do that. To answer your question, have we heard other ideas other than like eliminating administrators? I mean, I hear that probably every year. That part I hear a lot. As I said, I think last week, and I'll continue to say, not that this isn't easy. Every budget reduction has impacts, but I'm really concerned about next year. And so I am, really trying to get us in a spot where we can be ready for something that I think will make tonight really look tame in comparison if things are going to go the way that legislators are telling us they're going to go. So in some ways, no, I don't know that I've heard more additional, pieces of that other than let's not, make these cuts. But we've got some tough decisions to make now and then for our future.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other comments?
I got one more.
Okay.
Sorry, I got one more, which is, would it be possible, Dr. Cook as well, and thank you for the last answer as well, to explain since the, since the court case is closed and the appeal has not occurred yet, I think you're open to discussion, but someone in the community comments section mentioned that it cannot, they were told through the attorney that the automotive courses can't be considered as community education courses because of credits.
Yeah, I don't know what that comment meant. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure what that meant.
So then the follow-up would be then that like, it is possible to move an automotive program to a community education course based on your knowledge now?
Theoretically, anything could become a community education course. That's how it's structured.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify that we are still, as my understanding, what I heard tonight is that that court case is still being appealed. So I can't say much more about
Yeah,
that.
understood, understood. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
I think you're good. I think so. You know, you're getting ready
Oh.
to close it. Yeah. I think you want to go. Yeah.
Okay, if this is the appropriate time to propose amendments, there are a couple that I would like to propose to this budget document. The first amendment that I would like to propose to the budget is regarding the reduction titled Reduce Hours in Automotive and Tool Room by $30,537. I just want to say that I understand that this budget is designed not to, even though the cuts exceed the current deficit, it's not designed to generate a surplus. It's designed to anticipate actual expected costs in the coming year, and I am cognizant of that. So there's not as much necessarily fat on these reductions as it might look like. But so I want to take a look at that number value, $30,537. First, looking down from the perspective of an institution, that dollar amount, looking at total reductions being $1,405,524 for a total reduction package of $2,016,534. This reduction constitutes 1.4% of that reduction package, and which I find to be a pretty small quantity. Looking at that reduction again, looking upwards from the perspective of an individual, $30,537 coming out of two people's paychecks is an enormous number. I don't know what percentage that constitutes of Andrew and the other tool room person's paychecks, but I know that if my own pay was cut by $15,000, I would be in a position to have to look for another job. I would not be able to make ends meet. And my proposal is simple. I think we need to get rid of this reduction. And I think that our budget will survive without that 1.4%. And I really hope that all of you feel the same way. I spoke about my feelings about this last week as well. So I would move to amend the budget to remove this reduction.
And
Is that
Is there?
as a point of clarification,
Did you?
Excuse me. I got the motion. I did not hear a second.
second,
Gotta ask for, is there a second?
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
And Christy will have to clarify this because it's going to have to be done so that it's a balanced budget. So,
Yeah, we do have some language and some things that we need to think about. So go ahead, Christy.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, me again. Yes, so Katie and Dr. Cook are correct. The budget as present right now, the proposed budget is balanced revenues to expense. So if you add resources back into the budget, you need to make an equally balanced offset to keep that balanced. Okay, so when we talk about that amendment, how this would look would be you would have an amendment that would increase personal services expenses and 0.34 FTE to add back the resource and the FTE authority. You would also need a reciprocal balancing entry, so it is the same. The flip side of this proposal, it sounds like, and I don't want to infer too much of what your intention is, Director, but it sounds like the flip side of your proposal is a one-time reduction in contingency to support this expense. Is that correct?
I wasn't informed that I had to balance out any proposals that I made, so I haven't thought through exactly what I would need to do that. If contingency is the fastest way to do that, then that's what has to be done. I prefer to not use one-time funds to do this and find a more ongoing source of revenue to do that. I didn't realize that was my job in proposing amendments to do that.
Amendments do need to be balanced.
Okay.
Because we do need to keep the all funds, revenues to expenses, and our appropriation schedule balanced from the point of the proposed budget from the budget officer that will carry through the approved and then will carry through to the adopted.
Yeah, we don't have a list of items to cut if this is brought back. So we would you'd have to either have the understanding that we would have to go out after this meeting before you vote in June to find something for that, or you'd have to decide that it's going to come from contingency.
Okay.
Director Hanthorn. Oh, excuse me.
I just want a point of clarification. What kind of, again, the money figure we're talking about, is it the $35,000 you're talking about in the tool line that
Yeah,
we're going to adjust it? $30,000?
It is $30,537.
Yeah, right now you'd have to take that out of contingency to make that equivalent.
I'm sorry, what was that, Wade?
If you made that balance right now, you'd have to take that out of contingency, right?
Or find an alternative reduction from another program.
That's right.
Can you add it to the first budget meeting for next year, that's something that directors should be informed about at that first meeting, that they have to bring balanced proposals? Because I wasn't made aware of that. I absolutely would have dug through and found somewhere to pull that out of to do that, because I think this is very important.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for the contingency, are we required by law to have a certain amount of contingency? Because, and are we above that? Will we be able to take this out of contingency and still be within
Yeah.
budget law?
Yes, and go ahead, Chris. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, the board policy is 10% of revenues for future reserve, and you will not be below the 10% level at the $30,000. And again, this is a one-time draw is how this would be proposed, because you would be adding expense back into a personal services line item.
Okay, given that I don't have better alternatives that I had time to look through the budget and find, that's what I will have to propose at this time.
Second.
Would you mind if I read what the amendment would say so you all are aware?
Please do.
This amendment restores funding for 0.34 FTE and the Technology and Applied Science and Public Services. Increase general fund ongoing personal service expense and automotive department in the TAPS division by $30,537. Decrease general fund operating contingency on a one-time basis by $30,537. Update financial and staffing tables in the proposed budget as necessary.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Is that your second?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Chair
Yes.
Byers, I have a question for Director Helena. Given the conversations tonight about the importance to the many individuals that are here this evening on the first year faculty experience, why then put back the tool money as part of that? Can you explain for you?
Oh, yeah, I'll
why that-
definitely explain this, because that was one of two amendments that I was hoping to propose tonight.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that we don't get to take these one at a time, right? So if you've got another budget amendment, then we can either put this on
I
table. so you see
recommend that
them-
we could amend that motion with another item.
Right.
Whatever that item is.
Mhm. I agree, right? So I think what we're asking you is what is your other one? So we know what they
Yeah.
both are, right?
Just to clarify, it is up to you as the person who brought up the amendment to decide whether or not you want to bring it separately or keep it as your own. It is not their decision.
I'd like to bring them separately, please.
Okay.
Can I
Yes.
ask a question about that decision? So from my perspective, and this isn't calling you out, I would like to know from everybody if there are potential amendments that we want to consider, because at some point there's going to be a total dollar amount. And I wouldn't feel comfortable voting on something and then we get down the road and I'm like, oh, I would have rather vote. Now can we go remove that? Because so that would be my concern from everybody. Like if we're going to do that, can we have a discussion about potential amendments that are going to change the dollar amount and impact the program? If that's not the case, that's fine. I'll just try to figure out how I'm gonna engage in those one by one. But that would help me in my processing and understanding as on a personal level.
I would offer that some discussion about this, and if there's potential amendments, that it would be nice to have a motion that had a total dollar amount that balances out all of them. And where those funds originate to balance it out.
Yeah, I really wish I had had time to look through that and find something that I felt could compensate for that, because I didn't realize that I had to bring a balanced proposal.
We cannot take people from the audience. No audience comments right now, please. Chair, I wonder if you would like to table this motion for right this moment so you can have a further discussion about other motions or discussions. Otherwise, you should vote on this motion.
Okay. What I'd like to see is that, one, I'd like to see if there's other items, and we would ultimately adopt one motion that would include the items. We could have a preliminary hit yes or no on it, and then end up with one motion that would take all of the considerations.
Same thing as tabling it.
If you would like to discuss other motions, you need to table this one first.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will table it. I think the chair can table a motion.
Yes.
Okay. What's another item that we want to discuss? Yes.
Well, I would like to talk, to discuss first year faculty experience. I'd like to have input on that because the testimony was very powerful. And I have to think back to when I was a board member and Jill Freeman and I went to Las Vegas to a conference and we presented this when it first begun, and it was so amazingly received there. And the results, I think that was after 1 or 2 years maybe. And I remember so many schools coming up afterwards and wanting to learn about it. So I would like a discussion of it. I mean, this too seems like an amount that we could look at and just so anyway, I don't have a motion about it, but I have that because I'm not quite sure how to frame it, but I just have that comment that I'd like to share.
Tell us what you said you have another one.
Yeah, I've got a motion about it. I would prefer to discuss them and vote on them separately, but if this is what has to happen, then I'll get into it. So I wrote down a few comments on this because I do think that this is a complex issue where I can see the administration position on this as well as the faculty position on this. So tonight I'd like to discuss the FYFE budget reduction. Over the past few weeks, I have heard from many different people about FYFE, including people involved with the creation and management of the program, participants in the program, and administrators who have to deal with the financial realities of the college as a whole. My feeling after hearing everything is that FYFE is a very successful program and that the people who have gone through it find it foundational to their experience and abilities as faculty at CCC. On the other hand, it is simply not financially sustainable at its current funding level. The good news is that for the 26-27 academic year, it is possible to maintain the program as its current full-year service level due to a low cohort size. The issue now is how do we prepare for future years with larger faculty cohorts? If we were to remove this reduction from the budget, it would take $144,258 from our $2,016,534 budget package, which represents 7.2% of total changes. And this, in my opinion, is too much to take out while maintaining our long-term financial stability. However, I do also believe that a cut this size is disproportionately damaging to an award-winning program that makes CCC stand out among its peer institutions and is important enough to bring many people to the room today. I wrote this beforehand, but I didn't realize how many exactly that would be. There is no institution, department, or program that could withstand the removal of 2/3 of its operating budget and be expected to deliver remotely the same level of service. What I am proposing today is a compromise that I hope can support the long-term goals of the college while keeping FYFE closer to its current service level. I would like to amend the budget to change the current FYFE reduction from $144,258 to $72,129. My hope is that in the upcoming year, the folks at the Center for the Teaching and Learning can successfully develop a new FYFE financial structure that can support first-year faculty for many years to come. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Chair, a point of clarification. Could you read the last number again? You want to reduce it to 120? Sorry, I didn't.
Excuse me, I'd like to reduce that cut to $72,129. Yep, I divided it by 2.
To be clear, the other way would be to say to add back 72. Okay.
Yes.
Thinking through the narrative.
So what does that change that amount, the total amount to?
If we're adding the 72.
The
Just gotta
total
calculate.
amount between the two proposals?
The addition and what's proposed?
Yes, just one moment. Because right now the budget does not have the 144. You would be adding back half of the 144, as I understand your proposal. So between the two, it would be 102,801.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question about
Sure.
this? And maybe I'll refer it to Dr. Cook and you can refer it to whoever else. So in the response to Budget Committee 5/15/2026, the bottom of page 1 of 3. Sorry, maybe that's not it. I scrolled. Okay, sorry, bottom of page 2. Clarification for changes for first year faculty experience included in the proposed budget. Sorry, I don't want to read the whole thing, but I just want to ask a quick question. It says that the proposed budget does not eliminate it. The cohort for 26-27 will still have 4 faculty members as planned, and they'll continue to be support. And then it indicates that there will be a reimagining going forward of what that will look like. So my understanding of that, and from comments, but then also sort of this proposal, I just kind of want to understand, is the number in the proposed 26-27 budget able to fulfill the needs to serve those 4 full-time faculty next year? Or is there a need for next year's budget to increase it to keep, let's say, the same level of service that we're hearing comments about? That's the way I interpreted it, but the idea would be is in the following years, there might be a much more substantial change. Am I making any sense?
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
the
we have
budget,
enough money in the budget for next year to with the 4 new faculty to do a full year experience. And the thought again would be we spend the year then reimagining, rethinking that, and then after that it would be, that money would be eliminated.
so at this point, I know we're not taking more public comment, but so I'll just refer this to you as well. So based off of the comments that I heard about a proposal of potentially working with the administration to come to an agreed new process of what that will look like. It sounds like there's adequate resources in the proposed budget to do that for next year, and then that would be in for the next year's budget.
And then
We wouldn't need to
And then, yeah,
make a change.
if for, yeah, depending on what came out of that work next year, then we'd be looking at the following year's budget to decide if we needed to re-add or do something else in that, if I'm hearing you correctly.
So if there are 2 new faculty hired, so if we approve the budget as that line of the budget as is, and 2 new full-time faculty are hired in the summer, so the cohort is 6.
Oh, we
What-
wouldn't, no, hiring faculty is there occasionally it goes out of schedule, but most of the time that happens right about now, actually.
So it's not going to be more than 4.
It wouldn't, it's unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is my understanding that there isn't a need in this proposed budget for 26-27 to increase that bucket. However, the commentary or the comment that we might, or direction or advice that we might present back to the administration is, in good faith, work with faculty, full-time and associate faculty. I did faculty development for a really long time. I ran programs like this, also went to conferences and presented on them. So I know how important faculty development is. It is the key to a university or a college in supporting students and doing active learning and pedagogical strategies and so on and so forth. But I also really want to see opportunities to increase that for associate faculty and others as well, so that's more in line with the type of support that we need. We heard about how important associate faculty are, and frankly, all staff impact. I mean, everybody sort of impacts the student experience in this educational environment. But anyways, so enough commentary for me. So I want to make sure I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, my thinking is that a permanent 2/3 cut is not going to give them enough wiggle room in this next year to form a program that is going to be able to remotely get to that same service level for the year after the next year. So we're trying to think down the line when we have, what happens when we have a cohort size of 10? What is a version of this that works for any size? And I want to be able to give the Center for Teaching and Learning sufficient funds that they can make those decisions while maintaining an appropriate service level to make this long-term financially sustainable.
I agree. There's just not, in my experience in budget building, you don't typically put money in for that next fiscal year that's not going to be needed for that purpose. I would, understand though, that if this was cut by 2/3, we as a committee and as a board of education, we might expect an increase in that in the following year, especially if we continue to encourage the administration to develop and invest in faculty development. So I get nervous with the idea that we raise tuition and then we put money back into a budget line that actually isn't needed for this current upcoming fiscal year.
So if the money doesn't get spent, it's not going to contribute to a deficit. What I am concerned about is that at the next year, we're back at these meetings, and then it's going to be a much tougher sell to increase a budget that has already been cut versus maintain a funding level that is going to be long-term sustainable.
Okay,
I just want to say again that I think that these 2 amendments are very separate issues, and I would really like them to be voted on separately. My cards are all on the table now. That is how I feel about this budget.
I'll honor that request. So Katie, we still have an original motion. Would you read it for us, please?
Yes, I will do my best. Christy was kind enough to provide me with her statement here. So the way I understand the current motion that has been tabled, that you're pulling back on the table, it sounds like, for discussion, is to restore the funding for 0.34 FTE in the Technology Applied Sciences or Science and Public Service Division, increase the general fund ongoing personnel services expense in automotive department in the TAPS division by $30,537, decrease the general fund operating contingency on a one-time basis by $30,537. Update the financial and staffing tables in the proposed budget as necessary.
Any questions about the motion? Are we ready to vote? Those in favor, please say aye.
Sorry, I'm gonna do a roll call vote if
Okay.
you don't mind, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a roll call vote on all of these votes just to make
Yep.
sure we have it, so that I am getting everyone correctly. So I'm gonna start with Irene Konev.
Here.
Are you voting yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Andre Chernishoff,
Yes.
Jane Reed,
Yes.
Jamie Damon,
Yes.
Ryan Ingersoll,
Aye.
Nancy Bush,
Aye.
Joe Crenshaw,
Aye.
Christine Didway,
Aye.
Wade Hathorn,
No.
Michael Morrow,
Aye.
Rob Wheeler,
Aye.
Alina Krolenbrock,
Aye.
David Chitsason,
Aye.
and then Chair Wade Byer.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We have, what is it? Excuse me, audience. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the vote is 13 ayes and 1 no. The vote passes. Thank you, Chair.
Your second item. Tell us what it's gonna say.
So I think I've already discussed this, but I would like to reduce the FYFE budget reduction from a reduction of $144,258, cutting that in half to $72,129. I think this is a program that is too important to cut by 2/3.
Just tell us the motion. Yeah, well, she added part that isn't motion. She added.
I'm new to this. If there's like a word I'm missing, just let me know what to say here.
Well,
Chair,
I move.
Chair,
I move.
may I read the motion and then have them move and second the motion? Okay, so the motion is I amend restoring the funds for the Center of Teaching and Learning in the Institutional Effectiveness and Planning Division, increase the general fund ongoing personnel services expense in the Center for Teaching and Learning Department by $72,129. I decrease the general fund operating contingency on a one-time basis by $72,129. I update the financial and staffing tables in the proposed budget as necessary.
Thank you. Discussion?
Oh, sorry, that is the motion, correct?
We had a second.
Correct.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah. We do have a second, yes.
Christie, what's
Yes.
that do to contingency?
Sure. One moment. So it's 72,120. That is a reduction of contingency by $102,666. That would take general fund operating contingency to 7.9 million.
And this is before the budget even has begun, like right?
Correct. The action reduces contingency before the start of the fiscal year.
And does it reduce board policy?
I believe you'd still be in board policy. Let me look at the revenues real fast.
I just want to say again that I really wish that I had known that I had to bring both sides of this to the table at one time, because I would have dug into this document. I would have found the money there. I don't want it to come from contingency funds, but I feel like at this time scale, this is my only option. So I just wanted to voice a little bit of frustration there, and hope that we can inform new board members about this process a little bit more in the future. First year board experience.
Chair, the result of the amendment would be you would still be just over 10%, but you would be right within the 10% threshold. You would be at 7.975, 10% of your general fund revenues is 7.7. So you're in that boundary.
Thank you.
I just have a question. Would some incident that we had to cover later down the road put us outside of that 10% if there's some unforeseen incident happened?
Director, to make sure I understand your question, you're asking about the purpose of contingency for either urgent, unforeseen, or unplanned expenses?
Yes.
Yes. So in the next fiscal year, if one of those items happened, you would have a opportunity to make an appropriation to cover the expense. The bucket doesn't automatically refill until you start planning for the next year's budget. You either have underspending that would happen in the next fiscal year that would fall to balance and would refill your contingency reserve, or you would need to make other actions, i.e. cuts, in order to get back to that 10% threshold. So that would be the calculus that you'd be making right now at the 10% level.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Irene. So close. Irene Konev.
Aye.
Andre Chernyshov.
Aye.
Jane Reed.
Aye.
Jamie Damon.
Aye.
Ryan Ingersoll.
No.
Nancy Bush.
No.
Joe Crenshaw.
No.
Christine Didway.
Aye.
Wade Hathorn.
Aye.
Michael Morrow.
Aye.
Rob Wheeler.
Aye.
Alina Krolenbrock.
Aye.
David Chitstone. Board Chair Byers.
Aye. Motion passes.
(11 ayes and 3 noes).
Other comments, questions from the budget committee members?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm a little bit concerned about where we're going to be next year. A lot of colleges are, as was shared last week, a lot of headlines, and that deeply concerns me about what's coming up next as we do this, planning for the next year. I'm also curious if there's something we can do about our beautiful spaces here. There are so many community organizations that want to rent college spaces. And I'm wondering if what we can do to make our college more available and attractive so that we could start generating some revenue. I recognize that's going to cost more in utilities and care and janitorial services. But I'm just wondering if that's one way we could start generating a little bit of income to maybe continue some of the shortfall that we voted on this year. Thank you.
If I may, Chair, there was a line item that you might have seen in the reductions where we were centralizing event services funding for that very reason, that we feel like there's a lot of opportunity on this campus and then also on our Harmony and Wilsonville campuses to do just that.
And if I might ask this question, what would it cost to have one more person as a potential hire so that that person could manage and kind of coordinate some of this Because once it gets going in the community, you're not going to have enough staff to keep up with the demand. I know I myself get phone calls and emails like, we want to rent the college to put on some kind of an event, because that's kind of the work I do in my private life. So
Yeah, that's something I wouldn't be able to respond to right now. We'd have to really look in to see what the appropriate staff person was. But the first step in that was really centralizing it and then putting together that plan.
thank you.
If I can add, just to add on to that, to just bring a little like other governmental synergies of working with another department. I know that just because I am on the North Clackamas Parks and Rec Budget Committee too. They were talking about this as well, that they've had a lot of experience shifting to that as well. And I encourage you to connect with Director Kia and Callie, the finance director there as well, as they've had some good experience with that as well.
Thank you.
Two comments. First comment is, when we do this next year, I really appreciated the public comment, and I don't know if we can reorganize things, but I also like sitting with public comment, and takes me a little bit of time to digest and think about it. So I wonder if the vote could come later, if that's able or not. So we can take that in consideration. We can think about it. And then do we actually need to approve the budget? Okay, so can I move to do that? Or do we want to just talk? Okay, so I'm going to attempt to do that, but I'm going to leave the numbers blank because there's new numbers, right?
So the numbers will remain the same, but you'll need to say that it is, you move to approve the Clackamas Community College 2026-2027 budget as amended.
Okay.
Because you've now amended it in the aggregate amount of $279,075,862. And to approve the taxes provided for in the approved budget, the approved amended budget, at the rate of 0.5582 per thousand of assessed value for permanent tax rate, and in the amount of $12,456,427 of debt services on general obligation bonds.
Katie, would you
Did I
mind
say the
reading
wrong
what,
amount?
would you mind rereading to me what you have the total requirements as again? 278,075,862?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
So say that.
Thank you.
Okay. So somehow I just volunteered myself to do this and I didn't know I was going to, whatever.
I just
Anyways,
read it. If you want to say that you make that motion.
I'm going to read it. 'cause
Okay,
I
good
think,
job.
I think we should do it that way. I move to approve the Clackamas Community College 2026-2027 budget as amended in the aggregate amount of $278,075,862, and to approve the taxes provided for in the approved budget at the rate of 0.5582 per 1,000 of assessed value for permanent tax rate, and in the amount of $12,456,427 for debt service on general obligation bonds.
Yes, good job.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
Rob Wheeler.
I said as
He he said that.
I'm sorry, who was the
You just want me to
second?
read it again?
Michael, thank you.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Can I ask, are we, is there going to be like any opportunity to have discussion after the vote, or is that the end of the meeting? Okay, if not, I'll just bring this up right now. Wade, I just would appreciate if you could appreciate our comments. You don't have to shake your head, but anyways, I just wanted to say, just with the budget, once a year is hard. I want to just throw out, I've served on a lot of budget committees. I'm an accountant, I'm a nerd. I like looking at numbers. And the Milwaukee budget, we met quarterly. Other budgets we meet, we have like a pre-budget meeting to go through things with everyone. And I know the resources are limited among the staff, but it seems like it would be mostly be with the back or the executive or high ups like yourself presenting these, that I would just like to throw out that it helps ease the amount of shock at these meetings if there is meetings throughout the year. So I just wanted to throw that out. I'm very sorry, Wade, to take any more time, but there we are.
I'll just remind everybody that in response to your comment, that we go over the budget at every board meeting every month. So if you'd like to attend a regular board meeting, you can come there and you can make comments about it. They're all, numbers are all there, 12 times a year.
Thank you for letting me know that.
And for what it's worth, all board meetings are open public meetings.
Of course, of course.
Any other comments or questions? The meeting is adjourned.
No, sorry.
You gotta vote.
It was worth a try. I know.
Try to keep your eyes on me.
I know. I apologize.
Call the roll.
So yes, we have a motion and a second on the floor, and I'm gonna do the roll call. I have Irene Konev,
Aye.
Andre Churchin.
Aye.
Can I do to say your name? Jane Reed,
Aye.
Jamie Damon,
Aye.
Ryan Ingersoll,
Aye.
Nancy Bush,
Aye.
Joe Crenshaw,
Aye.
Christine Didway,
Aye.
Wade Hathorn,
Aye.
Michael Morrow,
Aye.
Rob Wheeler,
Aye.
Alina Krolenbrock,
Aye.
David Chitzazon,
Aye.
and then Chair Wade Byer.
Aye.
And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that and a lot of hard work, the meeting is adjourned.
We will take a 5-minute break before the board meeting will begin. Thank you.
The budget meeting is adjourned.
Said I have a feeling that